or formerly
Wow.
and I know Lynn has been very involved through the TSE, that organization she works with. So Jonathan has moved out to the airport now.
Out to the airport. Yes, I
Very
know.
cool.
I was so excited again because there's such a great so I'm so fortunate to the group, this new organization.
Good to have you.
Yeah, we look forward to it.
All right, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Jenny Beadle, and I'm so happy to be here with you. If you could each turn off your cell phone or put it on silent or mute, that would be lovely. And if you're online, go ahead and mute yourself. We're going to start today with our flag pledge and our four-way test. So first, the flag pledge. Please stand. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, and our four-way test of all the things we think, say, or do. First.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
And fifth, will it be fun? All right, please be seated. And I will call up Janet to do our invocation.
I brought a book along with me today. You can see it on the, you guys can see it as well as you here. It's called Maybe You Should Talk to Someone. And this is a book written by a therapist about having to go through a process because of a life crisis that happened. And I got this book because I have a friend who has Alzheimer's, and this is not going to help my friend with Alzheimer's, but it might help his wife, who is trying to figure out how to be a wife to a person that doesn't know who she is. So when I started reading the book myself, and guess what? It's an entrancing book. And I had a paragraph, 2 paragraphs that struck me like lightning last night before last. So I'm sorry if this is a little longer than normal for me, but go ahead and have a seat, Jenny. So this is a therapist who's going to a therapist to talk about the problem that came up where boyfriend said that he wasn't her boyfriend anymore, and she had been planning to get married to him. And he told her that he wasn't gonna be able to be her husband because he didn't want to live with kids, and she had a kid. So the therapist is saying, explains my pain feels like it's in the present, but it's actually in both the past and the future. Therapists talk a lot about how the past informs the present, how our histories affect the ways we think, feel, and behave, and how at some point in our lives, we have to let go of the fantasy of creating a better past. Somebody, you know, when they're broken up, the first thing you do is try to deny it, try to change it back and say, can we get it back? And that's what she's trying to do. If we don't accept the notion that there's no redo, as much as we try to get our parents or siblings or partners to fix what happened years ago, our past will keep us stuck. Changing our relationship to the past is a staple of therapy. Lost my place, but we talk far less about how our relationship in the future informs the present too. Our notion of the future can be just as powerful a roadblock to change as our notion of the past. In fact, he continues, I've lost more than my relationship in the present. I've lost my relationship in the future. That's the key 2 sentences that I heard that made me think about this in a different way. We tend to think that the future happens later, but we're creating it in our minds every day. When the present falls apart, so does the future we get associated with it. And having the future taken away is the mother of all plot twists. If we can spend the present trying to fix the past or control the future, we remain stuck in place in perpetual regret. By chasing after her boyfriend, I've then watching his future unfold while I stay frozen in the past. But if I live in the present, I'll have to accept the loss of my future. Can I sit through the pain, or do I want to suffer? So I should stop chasing after my boyfriend and Google stalking him, she says. He smiles indulgently in a way one would at a smoker who announces that they'll quit cold turkey but doesn't know how overly ambitious that is. At least I'll try, she says. Spend less time on his future, more on my present. I'm not saying that we all need this, but at some point in time, we all have times where things change in our lives in ways that we didn't expect them or want them to. And I think this is a little bit of a clue. And if you want to know, the name of the book again is Maybe You Should Talk to Someone, Lori Gottlieb. Please bow your heads. We are thankful for the food before us. We are thankful for the friends beside us. We are thankful for the love among us. We are thankful. Amen.
Thank you, Jan. And I think it was kind of the words from last week, Dr. Weinstein said, kind of what you focus on increases. So as we think about going forward, what we focus on will increase. And one of those things that we have been focusing on as a club is making sure that we have super engagement in our community. So I would like to first call up Maggie, who would like to give us a little bit of an update on the green team.
Thanks, Jenny. So I'm speaking, I guess, on behalf of the Green Team, and I do encourage others to chime in. But we're entering the season of planting, spring, we hope. And we've got a couple of exciting projects coming up. And so we've got two projects that we're working on. One that we received some grant funding for from the, let me get this wrong, Ramsey Watershed.
Ramsey Washington Watershed. Yeah.
Ramsey Washington Watershed Stewardship Grant or Maintenance Grant. And so what they're doing is they're helping to defray some of the costs of the maintenance of the rain garden because it's overrun with some weeding and we're needing some help with that. But then also the YMCA vegetable garden is another project. And so Kathy's going to put this on Sign Up Genius, but there's also a sign up sheet out here as well. But we're just looking for some hands to join us, not only on the committee as we do other environmental endeavors to take care of our community, but for these two projects that are coming up as well. I see Mary Jo on and Lynn. I've got 10 there. Does anyone want to add to that? Oh, Lynn does, yeah.
I just want to thank Maggie and the Green Team that we applied for this grant and they believe in us enough to make this rain garden something for the community. So I'm hoping that we believe in ourselves well enough to sign up and help out with it. And it's a 5-year grant. So thanks to Roseville Rotary and looking forward to seeing that coming to play for the rain garden and possibly in time for some of it to be shown at the Taste of Rose Fest also. So I'm excited about the 5-year grant and just wanted to offer my kudos. Thanks, Maggie.
Yeah, great. So look for that link and then there's a sign-up sheet outside for those.
Thank you. And now I've got a question. Does anybody know what's happening on June 23rd? Well, if you forgot, it is published in the Roseville City newspaper this week. We have a tiny little line here, but it talks about that the Rose Parade is coming back, the Run for Roses and the Taste of Rose Fest. So we've made it in the paper. And for anybody who is here, your tickets, I walked in with David Craig and said, give me more than just mine. So he's already ahead of everybody else. He's got, I think, 16 in his pocket there. So he's looking for a challenge who would like to outsell him. And for those who are online, we can get you your tickets mailed to you. Is that right, Kathy?
Today.
Mail in the mail today. So thank you all for that. And then we also have do you want to come up and talk about the road cleanup or?
Go ahead.
Okay, so the road cleanup is also coming up on the, let's see, the 7th, this Saturday. Yeah, this Saturday. So it's supposed to be almost 70 degrees. It'll be perfect weather out there for that. And I think we usually find all kinds of interesting things on the side of the road. There's some money, some old credit cards, some sunglasses, you name it, we found it. All right, and then the last thing I'd like to do is I heard Galen walk in with some good news and really wanted to do some happy dollars. So I think we should take a couple minutes here and talk about some happy dollars. So Galen, we'll start with you.
Well, it's baseball season, you know, and I have a granddaughter up in Duluth that's playing softball on a team. And she's about, I think she's 14 years old. She hit her first home run this past week. Unfortunately, they lost 9-1. And it was a 1 home run.
All right, Mary Jo, I think you're online if you want to jump in.
Mute, there we go. Well, hello, everyone. Happy May Day. Happy May 2nd, anyway. So my happy dollars are for May and for the great weather that we know is coming, as we are always optimists here. But I want to actually give a special thanks also to Maggie Mao and Lynn for their great work on the green team, you know, with Ted and David. And I mean, we have just such an amazing team. I'm just trying to keep up and go to some of the meetings, but they're doing so much work there. And I just want to give happy dollars for Maggie for putting that grant together, and Lynn for holding us together, and Ted, who's going to take over on doing a lot of that work. So, but anyway, I want to encourage everyone to, you know, participate in that rain garden. It's a great opportunity for us to really make that area the best that it can be. So thanks to Maggie and Lynn.
Thank you. All right, we got George.
Well, I have a happy dollar because this Friday we're going to celebrate after many, many years. My grandniece is graduating from med school and she'll be interning in Denver, Colorado.
I have 2 happy dollars. First, I got a chance to go someplace this weekend. We went to the Mia Rose or Art in Bloom. I don't know how I can't say it. I've only been there 10 times. And we went and had a wonderful time looking at how their floral arrangements matched up to the paintings that were next to them. And then I also, afterwards, we went out to dinner. That's by itself just earth shaking.
All right, Lynn Megan, yes.
Hi, $20, some of my winnings from Friday night. Our bowling team won first place. Mary Jo and Steve are on the team, Kevin's on the team, and 4 others. We have 8 of us, and collectively 8 of us, the Como couples, won first place.
Congratulations, that's
Go.
exciting.
Go team, go. I can't believe I didn't talk about that. Good job, Lynn. Yeah.
I love it. So the other big celebration and the other big news that we have is that Scott Shelburne is actually going to be preceding Maggie and will be the president-elect for the 2022-2023 year. So we're very excited and we're doing lots of succession planning, and he was honored and humbled. He was sorry he couldn't be here today. He's been called away on a 3-day kind of retreat thing. So, but we're very excited to have Scott on board and in that leadership role. All right, so now we will go to our program. And today we have Jonathan Turner online. He's with the Airport Foundation from the Minneapolis St. Paul Airport. The Airport Foundation is a nonprofit organization based in Minneapolis, St. Paul. The foundation dedicates itself to enhancing the experiences and exceeding the expectations of travelers at the Minneapolis St. Paul Airport, as well as supporting the airport and broader aviation community. The foundation's Travelers Assistance Program has become a model for airports around the world and has helped to rank the MSP Airport as one of the top airports in North America. Hundreds of highly trained volunteers assist over 2 million travelers annually with information, wayfinding, and a variety of special services. So Jonathan, we're so grateful to have you with us today, and I will go ahead and turn it over to you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for the great introduction, and so appreciative of the opportunity to present to the Roseville Rotary Club this afternoon on behalf of the Airport Foundation, MSP. It's also great to see some familiar faces on the call as well, including Lynn and Mary Jo. I actually used to work for or at Every Meal, which is a nonprofit based out of Roseville. So since I've now working at the Airport Foundation MSP, so I've done some work with Lynn, and then Mary Jo and I actually serve as board members to the Roseville Area Community Foundation too. So it's wonderful to see your faces on the call as well. So again, thank you all so much for this opportunity this afternoon, and I'm so excited to share more about the Airport Foundation in terms of who we are exactly, and then sharing out a little bit more about our different volunteer programs and opportunities for involvement. So the Airport Foundation, MSP, is a nonprofit organization. As shared before, we are based out of the Minneapolis St. Paul International Airport too. So with that, I will get us started here. And to just go over our mission statement, which states the Airport Foundation, MSP, dedicates itself to enhancing the experience and exceeding the expectations of travelers at MSP International Airport, as well as supporting the airport and broader aviation community. And the MSP Airport is a key North American transportation hub. Just a couple of facts regarding the MSP Airport. It is a crossroads of cultures in the Northern Tier region. It serves as the #1 most efficient airport in 4 of 5 years as ranked by the Air Transport Research Society. It serves as the 12th busiest US airport for aircraft operations and the 17th busiest for passenger operations. More than 400,000 landings and takeoffs take place every year. 163 nonstop destinations are served, including 136 domestic and 27 international cities. We are a major hub of Delta Airlines, and then we also serve as a hub and headquarters of Sun Country Airlines. And just some history about the Airport Foundation, MSP. So we are a partner of the Metropolitan Airports Commission, and we were founded nearly 40 years ago. As I shared earlier, we are a nonprofit organization. We are a 501c3 public charity, and we are actually the only airport foundation of its kind in the world. The Airport Foundation MSP also operates travelers assistance services, and through a partnership with MAC, the Airport Foundation MSP also presents Arts at MSP program. And really the success of the foundation is due to more than 600 of our amazing volunteers, which includes corporate and individual supporters. And today, we still remain the only foundation of its kind in the world. We support over 40 million travelers at MSP Airport annually. We have 600 travelers assistance volunteers, 100 animal ambassador volunteers that make travel feel like home. And that's actually a pet therapy program that we have offered at the airport. I'll touch more on that program here in a little bit. And then also Arts at MSP program, which is offered in partnership with the Metropolitan Airports Commission. And that focuses heavily on art installations, rotating art exhibits, and live performing arts performances. There's also tourism promotion and special events, as well as art beautification projects, gaming, and grant making. And we offer volunteer opportunities to a wide demographic of individuals. Retirees of all ages are able to find new friendships and ways to stay active while serving their community. And they can also enjoy climate-controlled comfort year-round, and it does stay 73 degrees year-round inside of the airport. College students and young professionals are able to build new skills and network with airport leaders, airline personnel, business retailers, and other business professionals who can help to advance their careers. Business travelers can also share their comfort with airport processes. Aviation enthusiasts enjoy an exclusive behind-the-scenes airport experience that cannot be replicated. And friends and family who volunteer together can also work together at select locations. And a real nice benefit for volunteering at the foundation is our volunteers can actually set their own schedules, which are typically 2 to 4 hours per shift. And then just a few ways that you can make a difference in terms of volunteering with the Airport Foundation MSP includes answering questions at one of our information booths, walking the concourses, helping to guide travelers in need, helping animal ambassador teams at one of our petting stations, and then getting to support art exhibits and live performing arts performances. So volunteering with Travelers Assistance. So Travelers Assistance focuses greatly on customer service volunteer roles. So if you've traveled through the MSP airport, you probably have seen information booths in passing. Well, believe it or not, a majority of those booths are actually staffed by our volunteers. There are 10 booths throughout the airport that our volunteers are able to help staff, and they serve as ambassadors to the MSP airport. They help to greet travelers and make them feel welcome. They also answer travelers' questions about wayfinding, flight status inquiries, as well as lost and found and ground transportation questions. Another great role we have within this program is called Go Guiding, and Go Guides are roving volunteers. So they walk around the airport assisting passengers who need additional assistance. And I always share to prospective volunteers that if you ever decide to sign up to be a roving or a Go Guide volunteer for a shift, you are guaranteed to get a good number of steps in, just because it does require a fair amount of walking around the airport. But they also help with escorting travelers, and then as well as meet and assist requests too. And outside of those specific roles, there are other special events that we do partner with at the airport that our volunteers are also able to be involved in terms of working as teachers' assistants at MAC's workforce English classes. We have a couple of animal ambassador teams who have helped at Delta's annual North Pole Fantasy Flight. And the Fantasy Flight is for local foster kids and families from the Minnesota Children's Home Society and Lutheran Social Services. We also regularly help at Navigating MSP, which is a monthly program for families, parents, and children with special needs to help them prepare for a trip at the airport. And then other ways to just help fulfill special service requests for travelers with unique needs. So at this time, I would like to just show a short video of our amazing volunteers in action. So volunteering with animal ambassadors at the MSP Airport. So our animal ambassador program is among the top 3 airport pet therapeutic pet programs in the world. And it really focuses on delighting travelers, helping to reduce stress, and enhancing the traveler's experience at MSP Airport. We have petting stations across both of our terminals 7 days a week, 2 to 3 times daily. Over 35 million traveler and therapeutic animal interactions take place per year. Animal ambassador volunteers also help with airport educational programs, outreach activities, and community events. And they really focus on providing comfortable and casual interactions with therapeutic pets. All of our therapy animals and teams need to hold current certification through either Pet Partners or the Alliance of Therapy Dogs. Therapy animals must be privately owned for at least 3 months by their handler, be at least 1 year old, have at least 1 year experience in at least 3 facilities, and have a minimum of 1 visit every 3 months within a therapy setting. And even if you are not a certified therapy team, that is okay. We have another great role within this program called our Animal Ambassador Helper. And helpers work alongside therapy dogs and their handlers to ensure visitors follow proper guidelines in terms of just crowd control and hand washing at one of our petting stations, but really ensuring that it is a positive experience for any passenger that is interacting with our therapy animals. So my apologies for the footage on this video, but here's a short video highlighting our awesome 4-legged volunteers and their amazing handlers. I know I always get a kick out of the Great Dane at the end of the video. That is a big dog. So the MSP Arts and Culture program showcases the Upper Midwest's diverse artistic community, natural environment, and cultural heritage. Multifaceted, dynamic, and supportive of both internal and external communities. The program delivers arts that transform airport spaces, enhance the travel experience, and creates a unique sense of place at MSP Airport. And volunteers help assist the needs of our performers, artists, and clients. The mission of the Arts at MSP program is to enhance the image of the Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport, to enrich the public's experience, and to promote a sense of place through arts and culture. And working in partnership with the Metropolitan Airports Commission, this program was founded or began administering back in 2008. And we have art installations and galleries all throughout the airport, but 2 specific areas that I would like to highlight are down on the C Concourse and Airport Mall galleries inside of Terminal 1. We have galleries that spotlight established and emerging artists and artist teams, visually stunning art gallery experiences, and high density foot traffic areas. We have a wide array of art installations and rotating art exhibits, and the artistry is usually focused on, the artistry curated is really focused on surprising and delighting travelers. And gallery naming rights are offered as a sponsorship opportunity for local organizations to both support the arts and to tell their story of institutional or regional leadership. And we do host daily live performing arts performances within the airport. They take place at both terminals, and usually special performances are scheduled at peak traffic times. There is a film screening room inside of the airport. Believe it or not, it's called the C18 Film Screening Room that features top locally produced films. It's right next to the C18 gate, right on the C concourse inside of Terminal 1. And then there's also 3 music stages and pop-up performance sites that are overseen with this program. In a few ways, one can volunteer with Arts at MSP, includes participating in art installations, maintaining art exhibits, supporting live arts performances, assisting at receptions and events, and then providing guided arts tours. And then I do want to just touch on some other foundation activities. There are 2 children's play areas that the foundation has actually helped to fund at both of the terminals. There's also a variety of different art beautification projects that we've gotten to oversee, which include hanging flower baskets and MSP welcome signage, special events, which that we've gotten to oversee within the foundation. One of them includes, it's called SODA, or State of the Airport, which is an airport luncheon that we help to host every fall. There is a grant making function within the foundation as well, where we financially support aviation related organizations and initiatives. And one example is the Learning Jet, which is a nonprofit organization that works to inspire students to choose science, technology, engineering, aviation, aerospace, and mathematics careers. And then finally, there is a gaming and lottery function within the foundation, where we are the largest lottery retailer in the state of Minnesota, operating gambling and lottery at the airport, which contributes to a very big part of our funding. And to learn more about the Airport Foundation MSP, or to apply to become a volunteer, you can certainly visit our website, which you can see on the slide, airportfoundation.org. I also included my email address and other contact information too, but I will also make sure to send out maybe a follow-up email with these details, so you do have it on your end as well. So with that, I am happy to stand for any questions.
Yeah, I think we'll take a few questions. The one I have at first is, I'm curious about kind of how big your staff is, and kind of the scope of even the size of the foundation itself.
Yeah, so right now we have, I believe it's a little over 20 full-time staff at the Airport Foundation MSP, and then 6 to 10 part-time staff members within the foundation. So I will say I joined the organization about a year ago, and it wasn't even close to half of kind of what total staff that we have on board. So it's grown quite a bit within the last year, almost year and a half, which has been great to see.
That is exciting. All right, Jan's got a question. And walking around.
Can you give a little picture of how the foundation worked during the COVID last couple of years? I recognize that you've only been there a year, but I'm sure you've got a story.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for asking. I will say, unfortunately with COVID, we did have to shut down our programming and operations. And again, it just from kind of an airport lens too. I mean, there wasn't a ton of traffic, or just for businesses as a whole. I mean, it really put a lot of those items on hold. So we had to completely shut down our operations just as a result of COVID. And also we did lose a very large base of our volunteers too as a result. So right now we are in a very aggressive recruitment campaign to bring our numbers back up to kind of our original pool of volunteers that we had at the foundation too. So it was, again, just mostly having to put our programming on pause, and it wasn't until about maybe last spring, actually around this time, maybe even April, when we kind of reopened our doors again to normal programming.
All right, Ted's got a question?
Thanks very much, Jonathan. I've got a question. You didn't mention anything about military. Isn't there a program for military support out there? Or is that a separate program, a separate organization?
Yes, there is. It's called the USO at the airport, and I will say it is kind of a separate program offered at the airport. It's a wonderful program. We actually have some of our volunteers kind of participate within their services too, but we don't really have too much overlap with what they do at the airport. But again, they do phenomenal work, and we're very fortunate to have their services on hand.
All right, another question here?
As a volunteer, I was wondering if there's any tangible benefits other than the smiles you get. Like, is there free parking if you're a volunteer?
Free parking at the airport? What? No. That is a very good question. And yes, we do offer a fair amount of tangible benefits, including reimbursed or free parking, I will say, for all of our volunteers. So, yeah. So the cost of parking is covered at the airport for all of our volunteers. We do have free snacks and beverages too that we do provide for them in a very also a very robust training kind of as a part of the onboarding process too for new volunteers. So it's not one of those positions where you're kind of just thrown to the flames. We do have a very comprehensive onboarding process before a volunteer is actually out on the floor volunteering at the airport. But also all of our volunteers do need to wear a security badge, and kind of a nice benefit with that badge is they do get a discount at all restaurant and retail stores at the airport too. And then we do provide a uniform vest too for volunteers that's free of charge as well. So just a few items to name, but parking, I will say, is probably the biggest nicest benefit for volunteering with us.
Absolutely. We have got another question over here.
If I may, sir, do you work with a budget number? Do you have a budget number that you can share with how big financially you're pushed? And also the board, how is the board selected? And is that from the general public, or is it pretty much airline orientated? And when you say MSP, you're talking about the terminals totally. It's the passengers. You don't do anything at general aviation, the outlet. So you have a very limited amount, but they're big time. A lot of people come through, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yeah. So our budget, to my knowledge, is a little over $2 million, and I could look into those figures just to make sure that that is exact too. In terms of the our board of directors, I will say a majority of our board members do work for MAC or are kind of in the hospitality industry, but it is open to the general public too. That is actually all handled through our executive director, because there is a formal kind of process in terms of applying and being interviewed as well. But all of that information is found on our website too, if anyone is interested.
I know that the MAC has a huge budget, and what you're doing is a very small portion of that. Why is not your function served through the MAC budget?
So our function actually is founded through the MAC budget. That's a big part of our funding, is actually through MAC. And then kind of what I touched on before, there is a grant making function within the foundation, too, and then it does also include donations and sponsorships that also contribute to a majority of our funding as well. But MAC certainly does play a very big part kind of within our funding and operations in terms of support. So.
Thank you. And I've got a couple more questions here.
Sure.
For the artists that are displayed, how does an artist get selected to have their work shown?
Yeah, so that is that's also kind of done online too, and specifically through our Arts at MSP program. So they do have to apply online if they are interested in having their art display. I will say we do a really great event every year called MSP Creates, where it's not only people from the general public, but it focuses specifically on MSP airport employees who are able to put up some of their like if it's art canvases or photographs too, and we have a large kind of display down on the C concourse that the general public can see as well. So it's kind of it's an event, also kind of competition related, you know, too, but generally speaking, there's a little bit more of a formal kind of application and interview process if anyone is interested in having their art on display. But again, that's kind of done more specifically through Arts at MSP.
Very cool. Here's Jim with another question.
Quick comment. Galen just confirmed, one of our members, Dale Noyet's son, has an art display at the airport.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Thanks for sharing.
In July.
And it sounds like he might be a speaker. Is that what I'm hearing whispers out here?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, good. Well, that's it. Excellent. And you talked a lot about volunteers. As you know, Rotarians are really good at volunteering. How might we or others advocate to get individuals to volunteer?
Absolutely. So I will say this volunteer opportunity is unique, to say the least, and certainly one of a kind. But my usual pitch is, if you have a heart for just travel, if you just overall just really enjoy the airport environment, because we know, you know, just being in the airport, even though it can be stressful at times, it's very exciting. It's fun. It's knowing that you're getting to get on an aircraft and, you know, going somewhere different, you know, too, and then also getting to meet with, you know, and mingle with passengers or anyone from just the traveling public from just all different backgrounds too. We're very fortunate that, you know, our volunteer opportunities provide those experiences. And I will say that also includes, it is certainly another great benefit for volunteering at us. And the level of flexibility that we do offer for volunteers, you know, too, is, you know, something very different, and you probably wouldn't see from a lot of other volunteer opportunities, where I shared before that, you know, volunteers can actually set their own schedule, you know, too. So just as long as they commit to working 2 volunteer shifts a month, that's our minimum requirement. And a shift can range anywhere from 2 to 4 hours a shift. But when I was going over like the different kind of roles and positions too, in terms of being a volunteer, you can choose what role you want to sign up for. So it's not one of those volunteer opportunities where you are being assigned to a specific role. When you come on board, you get the luxury of actually getting to choose. So if you wanted to just staff an information booth, you know, for all of your volunteer shifts, you can certainly do that. If you wanted to be just a roving or a Go Guide volunteer walking around the airport, assisting passengers in need, who need the additional assistance, you can do that too. Or even if you wanted to intermix with both of those roles, you know, we do offer that as well. So again, if you're looking for something very unique, exciting, and original, to say the least, too, this is a perfect volunteer opportunity for you. So all that to say, I certainly hope you consider volunteering with us, even if you know anyone in your network who might be interested, or if this just seems right up their alley too. Any word of mouth certainly goes a long way.
Well, thank you so much for being here today. We're going to do a little clap right here. And with all of our speakers, we make a contribution on their behalf, to Rotary Woods and Rain Garden. And we're very pleased to do that on behalf of you, Jonathan, and not only for your engagement with every meal in the past, which we are still very actively involved with, but also with your current work now. So definitely appreciate that. And a couple upcoming things. So remember, this Saturday is the road cleanup. It's gonna be nice, and you can find the mystery bag of things that are left on the roadside. I love seeing the sign that says, you know, clean on behalf of Roseville, so we make a big impact there. And then we also have next week, Sonia. And Ted, do you want to say anything about Sonia here? She's coming from Alight. You want to say anything about that?
No, I'm not sure what she's.
Okay.
She's gonna talk about the Afghan.
Come on up, David.
So we were gonna do, move in with this group of Afghan refugees and into apartments, and then we had a couple snafus, they didn't pass, so I asked Sonia to come talk to us about how the Afghan refugee resettlement has been going, so that's what we're gonna hear about, is that process and how it went. Thanks.
Jenny?
Yes. You need the mic? All right, Ted does have a comment.
We did try to sign up to help over there, and I actually had a chance to do it, which was to set up furniture in a home in northeast Minneapolis. There were probably about 12, 15 of us. I was the only guy. But we were setting up a lot of things like IKEA type furniture. And it was a home for a family from Afghanistan, parents and 5 children, 2 boys and 3 girls. So it is quite a right, interesting kind of thing. And then some other organizations do things such as picking people up at the airport, mentoring afterwards, and that sort of thing. So there are many organizations working with it, but Alight has focused primarily on setting people up in homes.
Thank you, Ted, for a little bit more of an explanation, and we're happy that you've been able to be a part of that process. All right, so any other announcements? We're a little bit early here, so I want to just check with the club. All right, well, take the last 10 minutes to mingle. This is an opportunity to get connected with the folks at your table and in around the room or online, but definitely look forward to seeing everyone again next week. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you all again so much.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Bye.
Thanks, Jonathan. See everybody. Have a great day.
Bye, everyone.